Rival band frontmen engage in an enemies with benefits situation that threatens both their bands. When one's manager leaks their secret to sabotage them, they must choose between their music careers and each other. Battle of the Bands, Chapter 1, The Rivalry. The bass thrummed through Kai Morrison's chest as he watched from backstage, jaw clenched. The Crimson Riots were halfway through their set at the Underground, and the crowd was eating it up. But what really got under his skin wasn't their tight harmonies or the way the audience sang along. It was him. Ezra Laurent commanded the stage like he was born for it, all sharp cheekbones and smoldering intensity. His lean frame moved with the music, dark hair falling into eyes that seemed to pierce through the smoky venue. The way he gripped the microphone, the rasp in his voice during the bridge, it was annoyingly perfect. Stopped drooling over the competition. Mia, Kai's drummer, elbowed him hard. We're up next, and I need you focused, not fantasizing about hate-kissing their frontman. Kai turned to glare at her, running a hand through his honey-brown waves. I wasn't. Save it, she grinned, twirling a drumstick. I've seen the way you two eye-fuck each other at every gig. The sexual tension is exhausting. Before Kai could respond, the Crimson Riots finished their final song. The crowd roared. Ezra's band filed off stage, and suddenly he was there, close enough that Kai could smell his cologne. Something dark and expensive that probably cost more than Kai's rent. Try not to clear the room, Morrison, Ezra said, his voice low and mocking. His dark eyes traveled deliberately down Kai's body and back up. Though I'm sure your 3 fans will stick around. Heat flooded Kai's face. Anger, he told himself. Definitely anger. Fuck off, Laurent. At least my sound doesn't rely on daddy's money and studio polish. Something dangerous flashed in Ezra's expression. They were close now. Close enough that Kai could see the slight flush on Ezra's neck, the way his pupils dilated. You're on, the stage manager called out. Kai forced himself to step back, breaking whatever charged moment had formed between them. Enjoy the show. You might actually learn something. As Kai grabbed his guitar and headed on stage with his band, the Void Runners, he tried to shake off the encounter. This was what they did. Pushed each other's buttons, traded barbs, pretended the attraction didn't exist. It had been like this for 2 years, ever since both bands started playing the Boston College circuit. Same venues, same competitions, same awards they fought over. Their rivalry was the stuff of local music scene legend. The spotlight hit Kai's face, and he grinned at the packed crowd. This was where he belonged. He counted off, and they launched into their opening number, raw, energetic rock with lyrics he'd written at 3 a.m. in his cramped apartment. But even as he sang, even as the crowd jumped and screamed, Kai's eyes found Ezra in the wings, watching him with an expression he couldn't quite read. The real problem wasn't the rivalry. The real problem was that Kai couldn't stop wondering what Ezra's lips would taste like. Chapter 2, The Breaking Point. 3 weeks later, Kai found himself at an industry party in a downtown loft, nursing a beer and trying to avoid the very person his eyes kept seeking out. This is torture, groaned Jake, the Void Runners bassist. Why did we agree to come to this pretentious disaster? Networking, Kai replied automatically, though he'd lost interest in schmoozing the moment he'd spotted Ezra across the room, laughing at something a music blogger said. Ezra wore all black, fitted jeans and a silk shirt that probably cost more than Kai's entire wardrobe. He looked infuriatingly good, and the worst part was that he knew it. I'm getting another drink, Jake announced. Try not to start any fights while I'm gone. Kai was alone for maybe 30 seconds before Ezra materialized beside him. Champagne flute in hand. Slumming it with beer? Ezra asked. How very authentic of you. Some of us don't need to drink our monthly rent, Kai shot back. Ezra's laugh was low and genuinely amused. There's that chip on your shoulder. It's almost endearing. And there's your pretentious bullshit. It's never endearing. They stood in hostile silence, both watching the party. The air between them crackled with the same tension that always existed, magnified by proximity and alcohol. You sounded good at the underground, Ezra said, finally, so quietly Kai almost didn't hear him. Kai's retort died on his tongue. He turned to look at Ezra, genuinely surprised. What? Don't make me repeat it. Ezra's jaw was tight, like the compliment had been dragged out of him. That new song, Fracture, it was good. Raw, but good. Something warm unfurled in Kai's chest, dangerous and unwelcome. Are you feeling okay? Did someone spike your champagne? Forget it. Ezra started to turn away, but Kai caught his wrist. The contact sent electricity up his arm. Ezra froze, looking down at where Kai's fingers circled his wrist, then up at Kai's face. Your cover of Midnight Rain wasn't terrible either, Kai forced out, his voice rough. You've got range. Ezra's expression shifted into something unguarded, vulnerable in a way Kai had never seen. This close, Kai could see flecks of gold in his dark eyes, the fullness of his lips. We can't keep doing this, Ezra said, but he didn't pull away. Doing what? Pretending we don't. Ezra cut himself off, glancing around the crowded loft. Not here. Kai's heart hammered. Then, where? There's a balcony. 2 doors down on the left. Ezra pulled his wrist free and walked away without looking back. Kai waited exactly 90 seconds before following. The balcony was blissfully empty, overlooking the glittering Boston skyline. Ezra stood at the railing, and when Kai stepped out, he turned. This is a bad idea, Ezra said. Probably the worst. Kai agreed. Then Ezra was crossing the space between them, and Kai was meeting him halfway, and suddenly they were kissing. Desperate, furious, like they'd been building to this for 2 years. Ezra tasted like champagne and bad decisions. His hands fisted in Kai's shirt, pulling him closer, and Kai groaned into his mouth. All the fighting, all the competition, it translated into this, gurning chemistry that threatened to consume them both. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ezra's lips were swollen and his carefully styled hair was a mess. No one can know, Ezra said firmly. Our bands would implode, Kai finished. I know. So this is just, Ezra gestured between them, physical. We get it out of our systems. It was a terrible plan. Kai knew it even as he nodded. No strings, no feelings. Just hooking up. Right. Ezra pulled out his phone. Give me your number. My place, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. As Kai typed his number in, he told himself this was fine. They were both adults. They could separate physical attraction from everything else. The rivalry would continue, but at least the tension would be manageable. He absolutely wasn't setting himself up for disaster. Chapter 3. Enemies with Benefits. Kai told himself he was just scratching an itch. That's what he repeated as he stood outside Ezra's apartment building in the trendy North End. That's what he thought as he rode the elevator to the 5th floor. That's what he tried to believe when Ezra opened the door wearing joggers and a t-shirt, looking unfairly attractive even in casual clothes. You came, Ezra said, sounding almost surprised. You doubted me? Honestly, yes. Ezra stepped aside to let him in. The apartment was exactly what Kai expected. Sleek, modern, probably costing 3 times what Kai paid for his place. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased the city lights. A expensive keyboard sat in one corner next to a high-end guitar. Nice place, Kai said, hating how nervous he felt. Very trust fund musician. Ezra's eyes narrowed. Do you ever stop being an asshole? Do you ever stop being pretentious? They stared at each other, the familiar antagonism rising. Then Ezra crossed the room and kissed him, hard and claiming, and Kai forgot why he'd been annoyed. This was different from the balcony, less desperate, more intentional. Ezra's hands slid under Kai's shirt, and Kai gasped at the contact. They stumbled toward the bedroom, shedding clothes, trading kisses and bites. Later, sprawled in Ezra's ridiculously comfortable bed, Kai stared at the ceiling and tried to process what had just happened. Ezra lay beside him, one arm thrown over his eyes. Ezra started. Yeah, they didn't need to say it. The chemistry between them was explosive. Same time next week? Ezra asked, still not looking at him. Kai should say no, should recognize this for the catastrophe it would become. Instead, he heard himself say, yeah, or sooner. Ezra finally looked at him, something unreadable in his expression. This doesn't change anything. We're still rivals. Obviously. I still think your music is unpolished. And I still think yours is overproduced corporate garbage. Ezra laughed, surprising them both. God, you're insufferable. Right back at you. But when Kai left an hour later, he couldn't stop smiling. The next 6 weeks were a blur of secret hookups and public antagonism. They fell into a pattern, trading barbs at gigs, then meeting up afterward to relieve the tension. It should have been simple. It wasn't. The problem was that between the physical encounters, Kai kept learning things about Ezra, like how he'd started playing music to cope with his parents' divorce, how the trust fund was actually a scholarship he'd earned but let people assume was family money, because it was easier than explaining, how he wrote his songs in the early morning hours when he couldn't sleep, same as Kai. Stop looking at me like that, Ezra murmured one night, both of them tangled in his sheets. Like what? Like I'm more than just a hookup. Kai's chest tightened. Aren't you? Ezra's expression shuddered. We agreed, no feelings. Right, no feelings. But it was already too late, and they both knew it. Chapter 4, The Competition. The Battle of the Bands competition was announced on a Tuesday. Winner gets a recording contract with a major indie label, plus opening slots on a national tour. This is it, Mia said at band practice, eyes shining. This is our shot. Kai nodded, trying to ignore the knot in his stomach. The Crimson Riots would obviously enter too, which meant he and Ezra would be direct competitors for something that could change both their lives. His phone buzzed. Ezra, we need to talk. They met at a coffee shop. Neutral territory. Ezra looked tired, stress evident in the set of his shoulders. The competition, Ezra started. Doesn't change anything, Kai said firmly, trying to convince himself as much as Ezra. We keep things separate. Can we? Ezra's dark eyes searched his face. Kai, if one of us wins, then we win. This was always temporary. I love making these videos for you. If you liked this story, then please like, subscribe to my channel, and switch on the notifications for more entertaining stories. Please also leave a comment for any story suggestions. Something like hurt flashed across Ezra's features before he masked it. Right, temporary. They didn't hook up that night. Or the next week. Both bands threw themselves into rehearsals, perfecting their sets. Kai tried not to notice Ezra's absence, the way his bed felt too empty, the way he reached for his phone late at night before remembering they were on a break. Not that it was a relationship to be on a break from, except it had started feeling like one. Somewhere along the way, the preliminary rounds were harsh. 12 bands competing for 4 spots in the finals. The Void Runners performed on Friday, and Kai poured everything into it. All his frustration and longing and fear transmuted into raw energy. The crowd loved it. The Crimson Riots performed Saturday. Kai told himself he wouldn't go, but he found himself in the audience anyway, hood up, trying to be invisible. Ezra was magnetic on stage, but there was something different in his performance, something vulnerable in the new song he premiered. A ballad about wanting someone you couldn't have. Their eyes met across the crowd, just for a moment, and Kai's heart stopped. Both bands made it to the finals. Chapter 5, The Betrayal. Nicole Chen had been the Crimson Riots manager for 3 years. Sharp, ambitious, and ruthless, she built the band's reputation through strategic bookings and social media campaigns. What Ezra hadn't realized was just how ruthless she could be. We need to talk about Kai Morrison, Nicole said, cornering Ezra after a rehearsal. Ezra's blood ran cold. What about him? I know you've been seeing him. Her smile was predatory. I have photos, text messages, witness statements. Very cozy for enemies. That's none of your business, Ezra said, trying to stay calm even as panic clawed at his chest. It becomes my business when it threatens the band. Do you know what happens if this gets out before the competition? The narrative becomes about your little romance, not your music. You lose focus, you lose credibility, you lose the competition. So what do you want? End it. Publicly humiliate him. Make it clear that he means nothing to you. Nicole leaned in. Or I leak everything to the press myself, but with a different spin, that you seduced him to sabotage his band. His reputation is destroyed, and you still lose the competition because you're the villain. Ezra felt sick. You wouldn't. Try me. You have until tomorrow night. She walked away, leaving Ezra standing alone in the rehearsal space. Kai knew something was wrong the moment Ezra texted asking to meet at the underground. Before their usual crowd showed up. The bar was empty. Just them and the ghost of 1,000 past performances. Thanks for coming, Ezra said stiffly. What's going on? You've been weird since. This was a mistake. Ezra cut him off, not meeting his eyes. Us. All of it. The words hit like a physical blow. What? Come on, Morrison. Did you really think this was going anywhere? You were convenient, that's all. A way to blow off steam. Kai stepped back, searching Ezra's face for any sign that this wasn't real. You don't mean that, don't I? Ezra finally looked at him, and his expression was cold, distant, nothing like the warm, vulnerable person Kai had gotten to know. Face it, we're from different worlds. After the competition, I'm moving on to bigger things. You'll still be playing dive bars. Fuck you, Kai said, his voice breaking despite his best efforts. You know what? You're right. This was a mistake. You're still the same pretentious asshole I always thought you were. He left before Ezra could see the tears. Nicole leaked the story anyway. The headline appeared 2 days before the finals. Battle of the band's frontmen in secret romance, rivalry, or publicity stunt. The photos were everywhere. Kai and Ezra on the balcony, leaving each other's apartments, stolen glances at gigs. The article speculated, questioned their authenticity, turned something real into fodder for gossip. Kai's phone exploded with messages. His bandmates were confused, hurt that he'd kept such a big secret. Jake was upset. Mia was worried. The local music scene was torn between fascination and judgment. But the worst part was Ezra's silence. No texts, no calls, no explanation. Just those cold words at the underground echoing in Kai's head. Chapter 6. The Truth. The night before the finals, Ezra sat alone in his apartment, staring at his phone. He'd tried to protect them both by pushing Kai away, but Nicole had leaked the story regardless. Now Kai hated him. The internet was having a field day, and tomorrow they had to perform the most important show of their lives. A knock at his door made him jump. When he opened it, he found Mia standing there, looking furious. "You're an idiot," she said, pushing past him into the apartment. "Excuse me? I talked to Nicole. She got drunk at a bar and bragged about how she manipulated you, threatened to destroy Kai if you didn't break his heart first." Mia crossed her arms. "So you broke his heart to save him?" Ezra sank onto his couch. "She would have ruined him, made it look like I was sabotaging his band. So instead you made him think you never cared. Do you have any idea what the last week has been like for him?" Mia's voice softened slightly. "He's barely sleeping. He can barely focus on rehearsals. And the worst part is, he still defends you. Someone online called you a spoiled rich kid using people for fun. And Kai wrote a 3-paragraph response about your talent and work ethic." Ezra's chest constricted. "He did? He loves you, you absolute moron. And I'm pretty sure you love him too. Or you wouldn't have done something so stupidly self-sacrificing. It doesn't matter. The damage is done. Then fix it." Mia headed for the door, then paused. "Oh, and I quit as your band's drummer. I'm joining the Void Runners full-time. You can tell Nicole she can take her manipulation and shove it." After she left, Ezra sat in silence for a long time. Then he picked up his guitar and started writing. Chapter 7. The Finals. The venue was packed for the finals. 4 bands, 1 winner, everything on the line. Kai stood backstage with his band, including their new drummer Mia, who'd explained everything about Nicole's manipulation the day before. Knowing the truth should have made things better. Instead, it just hurt more. Because Ezra had still chosen to break his heart rather than trust him with the truth, rather than face the problem together. "You're up second," the stage manager announced. "Crimson Riots are opening." Kai's stomach dropped. He'd have to watch Ezra perform, knowing everything now, feeling everything. The crowd roared as the Crimson Riots took the stage. Ezra looked pale but determined. He stepped up to the mic, guitar in hand. "Before we start," Ezra's voice carried through the venue. "I need to say something." Confused murmurs rippled through the audience. "The rumors about Kai Morrison and me, they're true. We were together. We are together, if he'll still have me after how badly I screwed up." Ezra's eyes found Kai in the wings. "I pushed him away because someone threatened to ruin his career if I didn't. But I should have been honest with him, should have trusted him, should have been brave enough to choose him over fear." The crowd was silent, transfixed. "This is a new song," Ezra continued. "It's called Brave Enough, and it's about what happens when you're too scared to fight for what matters most." The song was devastating, raw in a way Ezra's polished performances never were. He sang about cowardice and regret, about pushing away the one person who saw past his walls. His voice cracked on the bridge, and Kai felt tears streaming down his own face. When the song ended, the crowd erupted, but Ezra wasn't looking at them. He was looking at Kai. Kai's hands shook as he took the stage with his band. He could see Ezra watching from the wings, hope and fear warring in his expression. "Change of plans," Kai said into the mic, turning to his band. "We're doing Fracture instead of opening with Riot." Jake raised an eyebrow, but nodded. They'd all heard Ezra's song. They understood. Fracture was the song Ezra had complimented at the Underground, the one about breaking and healing, about letting someone in even when it terrifies you. Kai had written it long before they got together, but as he sang it now, every word was for Ezra. He improvised a new verse on the spot. "You tried to push me away, thought you were keeping me safe, but I was brave enough for both of us. I'm still brave enough if you are too." When they finished, the applause was deafening, but Kai barely heard it. Ezra had moved to the edge of the stage, tears on his face, and Kai made a decision. He walked off stage, right up to Ezra, in front of everyone. "I'm still pissed at you," Kai said. "You should be. You broke my heart. I know, but I love you anyway." "You pretentious asshole." Ezra laughed wetly. "I love you too, even though you're the most stubborn, infuriating person I've ever met. So what do we do now? We be brave enough." Ezra cupped Kai's face in his hands. "Together, no more secrets, no more choosing music over us. We figure it out together." "Together," Kai agreed and kissed him. The crowd went absolutely wild. Chapter 8, The Aftermath. The Void Runners won the competition. Kai suspected the judges were swayed by the dramatic revelations and public reconciliation as much as by the performance itself, but he didn't care. When they announced the winner, Ezra was the first person on his feet, applauding. But the real surprise came during the winner's press conference. "I want to make a statement," the label rep said. "While the Void Runners are our official winners, we were so impressed by both bands and by their story that we're offering recording contracts to both groups. Additionally, we'd like to propose something unprecedented, a joint tour. Battle of the Bands, The Love Story. 2 frontmen, 2 bands, 1 stage." Kai looked at Ezra, who looked equally shocked. "What do you think?" the rep asked. "Can you handle touring together?" Kai grinned. "I think we can manage." "It'll be interesting," Ezra added, sliding his hand into Kai's. "But we're better together than apart." The after-party was chaos. Everyone wanted photos, interviews, the full story. But eventually, Kai and Ezra managed to slip away to the same balcony where they'd had their first kiss months ago. "This is insane," Kai said, looking out at the city. "A month ago, we were enemies. Now we're signed to the same label and going on tour together." Technically, we were never really enemies, Ezra pointed out. You were like idiots who didn't know how to communicate. Fair. Ezra turned to face him, serious now. I fired Nicole, by the way. The whole band agreed. What she did was unforgivable. Good, you deserve better. Kai hesitated. And I'm sorry my bandmates gave you such a hard time. Jake still wants to punch you, for the record. I probably deserve that too. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, shoulders touching. I'm scared, Ezra admitted quietly. What if being public ruins what we have? What if the pressure of touring together is too much? What if? Kai kissed him, soft and sure. Then we'll figure it out. We'll fight and make up and probably drive each other crazy. But we'll do it together. Together, Ezra echoed, smiling. I like the sound of that. Epilogue 6 months later. The tour was exhausting, exhilarating, and everything they'd hoped for. Some nights they performed separately. Other nights they collaborated on stage, their different styles blending into something new and electric. The crowds loved it, the music, the banter, the obvious chemistry. It wasn't always easy. They fought about set lists and stage time, about whose turn it was to do interviews, about stupid things like whose bus was messier. But they also learned to communicate, to compromise, to choose each other even when it was hard. Kai's apartment lease had ended 3 months into the tour, so when they finally got a break, he moved into Ezra's place. Not without commentary, of course. Your feng shui is terrible, Kai said. Rearranging Ezra's living room. You can't just move furniture around randomly. It's not random, it's functional. You had a couch blocking the window. That was intentional. The light hits my keyboard otherwise. Then move the keyboard. They glared at each other, then started laughing. We're basically an old married couple, Ezra observed. Is that a proposal? Kai teased. Ezra's expression turned thoughtful. Not yet, but someday, yeah, I think it might be. Kai's heart swelled. Someday sounds perfect. The final show of the tour was in Boston, where it all began. The underground was too small now. They'd upgraded to a proper venue, but the energy was the same. Hometown crowd, full of people who'd watched their journey from rivalry to romance. For the encore, they performed a new song they'd written together, trading verses, their voices blending on the chorus. We were enemies until we weren't. We were broken until we weren't. We were separate, now we're one, and we're brave enough for whatever comes. As the final notes faded and the crowd screamed, Ezra pulled Kai close and kissed him right there on stage. No hiding, no shame, no fear. Just love, loud and proud and perfect. Later, back at their apartment, tangled together in bed, Ezra traced patterns on Kai's skin. No regrets? He asked softly. Kai thought about everything they'd been through. The rivalry, the secret hookups, the betrayal, the pain, the healing. All of it had led here, to this moment, to them. Not a single one, he said. You? Just one. Yeah? That we wasted 2 years hating each other when we could have been doing this. Kai laughed. We didn't hate each other. We just didn't know we were in love yet. When did you know? Ezra asked curiously. Kai considered. Probably the first time we kissed. I just wasn't ready to admit it. ... I knew the first time I saw you perform, Ezra confessed. You were so raw and real, everything I was afraid to be. I think I fell a little bit in love right then, and the rivalry was just self-protection. We're idiots. Complete idiots, Ezra agreed. But we're idiots together. Forever, forever. And as they drifted off to sleep, wrapped in each other's arms, Kai smiled. They'd fought their way through battle after battle, for recognition, for success, for each other. And they'd won something better than any recording contract or sold-out tour. They'd found home in each other. And that was the best prize of all. The end. I love making these videos for you. If you liked this story, then please like, subscribe to my channel, and switch on the notifications for more entertaining stories.
Please also leave a comment for any story suggestions.